Okay. Hi. So part of, I'll just explain what we're doing here. Part of Fife Bereavement Network, we're trying to release some videos this week just to give people an idea of why it's really important that we talk about death, dying, grief, bereavement. And so for today, we want to think about baby loss. So I'm really glad to have you guys with me. Would it be really helpful? I'll introduce myself and then maybe you could introduce yourself and your organisation. So my name is Jen Somerville. I'm from Child Bereavement UK. And we kind of have been involved in the network for a good few years now. Janine, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Janine Norris. I'm the chair of Fife Sands. It's a branch of the National Stillbirth and Neonatal Death Support Group, and we have peer-to-peer support in Fife and have good links with the hospital as well to make sure that all the parents who suffer a bereavement get the best support that they can.
Great, thank you. And Nicola?
Yeah, I'm Nicola Welsh. I'm the Chief Exec at Held in Our Hearts. So we are a charity that provides befriending and counselling, and so we just recently collaborated with SANS to provide counselling in Fife. So we're really pleased to be doing that. I'm a bereaved parent as well, so as are many of the staff. They come from a bereaved parent's lived experience. So delighted to be joining you today.
Great, thanks. And yeah, you're a really new member to our bereavement network in Fife, so it's great to have you been able to join us. Okay, so I think the first thing I'd like to think about, we've just got about 5 minutes, but is about why is it really important that we talk more about baby loss? So I don't know whether Nicola, you want to answer that first?
Yeah, I guess for me it goes back to if you take grief in general, there's been a living person in your life and you remember them through others and through photographs and through memories and by speaking to family and friends that knew them. And so I think what's really important to make people aware of course, is that the death of a baby is very different. It's more the death of a future and the loss of what you hoped and dreamed for your baby. And it's harder to pull on people that will understand that. So not only can you find it harder to find a friend or somebody at work or anyone in your family that really understands the depths of the grief of the baby, of a baby that dies, but also, of course, it goes against the natural order. There is no memories or shared experiences that out with perhaps only a couple of people have met your baby, or indeed maybe just your partner or husband are the only people who have spent time with your baby. So that makes it much harder. So all the more reason to talk, all the more reason to keep talking about it, because that doesn't go away for bereaved parents. It's a lifelong journey of missing that baby and that person that should be in their life, and it goes against everything that we're brought up. You protect your young, don't you? And so it's a very different style of loss.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Janine, is there anything you would kind of add to that from your experience with because obviously you work with lots of bereaved parents across Fife, in for peer-to-peer support. So,
certainly in my case, when our little girl was stillborn, I didn't know babies died in the 20th century. I just was absolutely shocked to the core to find out this happened, and nobody spoke about it. And I think we have made steps since then. She was born in 2013. It's being covered a little bit more on social media and in some of the soaps and things, but parents really need to know they're not alone out there. Nobody I knew had experienced this. I didn't know where to turn, didn't know what to do, I didn't know how to survive or live my life. And a friend of mine had found the details of SANS online and passed it on, and it really was a lifeline and is a lifeline still. So we need to keep talking to get that news out there. You're not alone, we're here for you, and you can survive this with help from people who've been in that boat and they understand what you're going through.
Great, thank you. And that's great to to have contact with both your charities, because I know you guys really get what it's like to lose a baby and what people really need. So thinking about that kind of thing, what is helpful. So when a baby dies and you lose a baby, would be helpful for people to know, to be able to know kind of how to support you and what to do. I don't know whether Janine, you could answer that first. What's been helpful for some of your guys?
Certainly, obviously, everything at the moment is just up in the air, and my heart is aching for families who are going through this just now, because all the things that helped us get through it, they have no access to. We survived it, and initially, the early days, you're in such a shock bubble, and even getting up in the morning, getting out the door is really difficult. Our friends and family came. They cleaned the house for us, they cooked meals for us, they dragged me out. We were able to go away on holiday, which was just such a relief. It made the pressure feel like it was lifted a wee bit, and we didn't know anybody, so people sent cards with their name on it, and hearing our baby's name and other people speak it, that is just so important. So just little things like a text. One of my friends would text every couple of days just saying, thinking of you, and just to know that, even though their lives were still going on as normal, mine felt like it completely stopped. Yeah. But they were still thinking about us, and they remembered her, and, especially on anniversaries, her birthday, if people remember and send flowers or a card or a text or anything, that just means so much to us. Yeah. So to support your friends, just let them know that you're there. You won't have the words to say, there are no words to say, but just knowing that somebody's on the end of a phone, and they probably won't want to talk to you, because I went through times when I didn't want to see anybody or speak to anybody, but I knew they were there. So just keep those communications open, and as soon as you can, just give them the biggest hug possible and say their baby's name.
Great. Janine, what was your baby called?
My little girl was called Sylvie.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that. So like real practical support, emotional support, making sure you are there for the person even when it feels like they don't necessarily want you to be there. It's really important to keep that connection. Yeah. And talk about your baby.
Absolutely. Obviously. And they'll be angry. They'll be really angry, and you will feel they don't want you there, but trust me, they do. So
yeah, cool. Thank you for sharing that, because I know it's hard to do so too. So Nicola, is there anything else kind of from the people that you're supporting, and obviously your own experience as well, that you would add to what Janine said?
I think just to second what Janine said is that we're absolutely heartbroken for families at the moment. We're still receiving new referrals, which is devastating really, but also hopeful that families know we're there at this time. I can't begin to imagine how isolating it must feel. I think to remember as well that we're expecting families at the moment, both parents are bereaved, and they both grieve equally but differently sometimes. And actually, as Janine's highlighted, friends and other neighbours and family scoop you up at the time, and they kind of carry you, and families can't do that just now. So I maybe just to touch on what people can do now might be helpful.
Yeah.
So we can't go round and visit, and we can't hug. We probably would struggle to provide meals perhaps because of, again, virus control, but simple things maybe about things to do with maybe the garden or flowers. So grief is very seasonal, and so to be mindful that the summer approaching might feel like a good time to say, oh, the sun's out, and this might help your grief. Actually it can sometimes be the opposite, because they wanted to be out with their baby in their pram, and they wanted to be showing off their baby in their summer wear, and they would be out doing walks and going to groups. So actually sometimes seasons can play a big part, and just to be mindful of that. But actually equally it could be seeing a rainbow and perhaps taking a picture and sending it to a loved one and saying, I thought of your baby today when I saw this rainbow, because I'm hopeful for you, and I remember. It might be taking a picture of a favourite plant or a sunny plant, something that's yellow and bright, and saying, this makes me think of your little precious baby and how it continues to grow in your heart. So some nice analogies, or it might even be sending a plant to somebody somebody, and if they can grow that, because the growth thing is very kind of almost relevant to that growth in period of, we know that time doesn't heal. I think that's a really rubbish phrase that we use in society. I think it helps. So I think time helps because each day allows us to explore a little more. And often with grief we talk about, you know, if it was a cup and your loss was the size of a tennis ball at the beginning, it's rammed right in. There is no space to think about much else, and especially just now families can't be as distracted as easily. So what we're finding is that many families, unfortunately, it's all consuming. They can't get out the same to perhaps even just escape for 5 minutes. But I think hopeful that that time changes. What happens is the container grows, so the grief stays the same and your baby's love stays the same, but perhaps you might be able to put your loss in something a bit bigger and think, gosh, time's allowed some space around it, and that gives hope. So I think reminding friends always that you're there, just like Janine said, and just that text or phone call saying I thought of you today is helpful.
Yeah, we were talking in Monday's video was about experiencing a sudden loss, and we were talking about kind of at this time with the kind of COVID situation that your kind of limitation is your own creativity and how you can make those connections with people when we wouldn't do it in a normal way. And I think there's that bit, isn't there, about, and what you're saying is when we can't go and give somebody a hug, how do we almost send a hug? So, you know, I love that about the rainbow and about flowers and things growing and those kind of things. So yeah, I think it's kind of your own personality and your own creativity, isn't it, about how you're able to kind of do that for families when you can't just go around. Obviously that's what we all want to do, isn't it, go around and give people a big hug, but we can't do it right now. So yeah.
We hear messages from people saying that when a befriender or maybe their counsellor or a friend or family member sends them a text just to say, I thought of you today, or I thought of your baby today. We have testimonials saying that makes a difference to that day. That is essentially what might become a day that is okay and survivable, as opposed to a day where nobody is in touch and nobody is saying that they're remembering, and actually how isolating and really dark those days can be. So don't underestimate just that little message. I think sometimes we say, well, that really touched, but it massively will.
So that's maybe a good place to end. Don't underestimate the power of a text. So go get on your phones, text your pals.
Absolutely.
You're thinking about them, all kinds of loss, but particularly in this case. And yeah, let's get all these things talked about so it makes it a little tiny bit easier for people. Well, thanks guys for joining me. Do you want to say bye?
Yes, thanks for having me. It's been lovely to meet you. So bye-bye.
And Nicola,
thanks very much. And you know, it goes without saying that, like, you know, I think collectively the three of us are all thinking of anybody who is experiencing a baby loss at this time, but also anybody in the past who's experienced loss. Like, we're not forgetting, we're remembering, and yeah, we're here.
Great, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.